It's another beautiful day we have in here in, the studios. Welcome to the show. It's the Discourse here on Classic FM. I'm Sulaiman Alede, and we've been, having this conversation amongst our editors and producers, asking the very reason or the essence why we have the protracted, issue of insecurity, coupled with what we're dealing with. There's hardly on a daily basis you don't pick up the papers to see something that definitely will, get you angry, really worried and disturbed. Rape, kidnapping, now courtesan among, the very young who are meant to be the future of the country. And that is the very reason why the discuss today will be on something that unites everyone, irrespective of race, tribe, religion, and even geographical location. Today, we're looking at the family unit and see how much we can revisit the values or value system in the family. And today, we are joined by one of Africa's very, very best to help us do this, and is Africa's premier life, mind, and behavioral change catalyst. And of course, 2021 Forbes Coaches Council Member, Larry Olushola. Good to have you join us today, Larry Olushola.
Thank you very much, Suleiman, for having me on the show. Very interesting topic that touches each and every one of us. But it's time for us to begin to, speak truth and for us to be able to address the issues. But to address the issues, we must go to the very foundation of the issue. So thank you for having me.
No, I think I should also thank you for making this easy. I've been doing this for many years, and sometimes when you reach out to people, this is not about your schedule, but about sometimes the kind of reception you get from people that actually keeps you going and happy about what you're doing. And you made it so easy, honestly. And I must say thank you for obliging us, giving us your time at the shortest of notice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're trying to dig in and see the cause of all of this. You heard me at the start. I also feature on front page news with my colleagues here. Sometimes we look at the front page in the papers, and on a weekly basis you pick up the papers, and it leaves you sad, because from page 1, 2, 3, 4, what you're saying is a very negative story, but you can't but run away from it. Once upon a time, we all understood what it was. Let me give you this instance. I just got lunch, from an eatery, and somehow she wasn't nice to me. Yes, but when it was time for the cashier to do the calculation, somehow she undercalculated, and it was an opportunity for me to say, "Aha, God don't catch you." You know how to say. And I just go. But I said to her, no, I think you're missing out on something. Can you go again? Because I think you just, shortchange yourself. And she did that. And she said, "Oh, so sorry." I said, that was the first time a smile came on her face. And I said to her, this smile would have actually, helped our conversation. What if I had gone away with this? This brings us to what the family is about. Sometimes some of us, we've seen where children imbibe some of these values, some of these cultures, some of these attitudes. But to start with, let's start by, listening to you, because you're the life coach in this essence, in this aspect rather. So we're drawing from you. When we say family, what does that mean when we talk about family?
All right. Thank you very much, Suleiman. I strongly believe that family is the bedrock of society. Family is the unit that nurtures, and it's the express projection into society. So what we see in society today, right, is exactly what is happening in most families today. So if we look out there in our environment, there's a lot of rape, there's a lot of cultism, there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of, insincerity, there's a lot of wickedness. Like you said, there's a lot of hostility, there's a lot of negativity. The truth of the matter, Suleiman, is that is a reflection of the fiber of every family. Don't let me say every, most families in Nigeria. And there are two kinds of families. Now, you were able to, you've differentiated the two kinds of families and the two kinds of people that society, is breeding. The first was, this lady that attended to you, knowing fully well that her salary comes from you, right? Without a customer, there's no business. Without a business, there is no salary for her. Without a salary, she cannot exist and survive. With all of that, right? She did not serve you. She did not satisfy you. And so you could have left unhappy. Now, something significant happened. She undercalculated. And by virtue of who you are, which is your nature, which was a function of your nurture based on the family background that you came from, you will not take someone else's money, irrespective of the fact that it is justified. You were not served appropriately. And so you could have paid what they asked you to pay. You didn't steal, you paid for it. The contract is when a demand is placed upon you and you accept it. So you went into there, you didn't know what the costs were, and they gave you a bill and you paid the bill and you walked out. It's justified. However, your values, your conscience did not allow it. So you told them, go and check again. And they went to check again. And guess what that did? That changed her attitude and her approach. And she smiled. Now, this represents two kinds of families. You came from an intact and functional family. She came from a dysfunctional or broken family. There are two kinds of families that I've experienced in the last 20 years in Nigeria. And so people that are products of dysfunctional and broken families are dysfunctional and broken. People that are products of intact and functional families are intact and functional. Now, the breakdown of a family structure can negatively impact both our mental and physical health. And so that girl that you were seeing was displaying a construct of mental health issues. She was dysfunctional because she must have come out of a dysfunctional home with dysfunctional parents, with dysfunctional, siblings. And that adversely affects the children. Now, family breakdown or dysfunctional families increase the dysfunctionality in our environments, creating very unsafe environments, creating very toxic environments. Now, you would find that the children that are nurtured in dysfunctional families, they struggle in school. They exhibit a lot of behavioral problems. And this is data. I'm giving you research. They exhibit a lot of behavioral problems. They cannot handle and manage healthy relationships. They have self-esteem issues. They have self-confidence issues. They have emotional imbalance. Whereas the children from functional and intact families, they have a higher academic achievement, right? They strive to succeed in life. They make impact. They live to make impact. They have better emotional health. They have fewer behavioral issues. Not that they will not have issues, but theirs are fewer. They have a lot of aspirations and they strive to deliver on those aspirations. They help other people achieve their dreams. They have a sense of self-determination. They take responsibility, right? They have a healthy self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-belief. They have some semblance of emotional well-being and balance. And a lot of children from dysfunctional families, right, are products of dysfunctional fathers and products of dysfunctional mothers.
You know,
so, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yes. So if we looked at the teenagers in Nigeria today, a lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them are dropouts from school, right? A lot of them are on one substance or the other. A lot of them smoke. A lot of them drink alcohol heavily. You know, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, if you know how much money, right, those alcohol companies were making, it's incredible. If you know how much drugs, right, are being consumed, it's incredible. Every day when I walk on the streets, right, I do exercises every morning, I see sachets of alcohol on the floor, in the gutters, on the streets every day, and they sweep those streets every day. We have an alcohol problem. We have a drug problem. We have a behavioral problem. Boko Haram is the product of a dysfunctional, broken family. The people that are the champions of terrorism, of armed robbery, of violence in our society, they are products of dysfunctional homes.
You know, so sorry, let me come in here quickly, Larry. I'll let you ride on that, because recently we featured the spokesman for the NDLEA here, and we asked him a very vital question, because there was this news that went out, and it was about, now you mentioned Boko Haram and some of these other criminal elements like the bandits, asking for ransom in drugs, you know, not money, not cash, asking for drugs as ransom payment before someone is released. And we asked him, we said, well, that news came about, and we thought that maybe that wasn't from the NDLEA chairman, General Buba Marwa. And he said, no, that was true. That is an authentic news. So now what you're saying is not far from what they have also discovered, that such criminality and even terrorism we're dealing with, these people are high on drugs, high on substance abuse. But now, if you link this to the family unit where we started off from, is there a nexus to the consumption and abuse of such, substances?
Oh yes, most definitely there is. You know, when you have malaria, right, it comes with different symptoms: headache, body pain, bitter taste in your mouth. You're feeling feverish, right? So when we say that, and when you go to a doctor and you say that, I'm feeling feverish, I have headaches and I have body pains, and you say your mouth is bitter, the doctor already has an idea what the problem is. So he will run some diagnosis and say, oh yeah, you've got malaria. You've got malaria parasites in your blood, and then they will recommend medication, right? The same thing, Suleiman. The symptoms of the critical issues are violence, kidnapping, armed robbery, behavioral issues. Like, it didn't just start here. It started when they were younger. Right? It's just grown and blossomed. Now, the problem was that, there was no doctor to diagnose the issues and to give them medication to cure the issues. Now, the doctor is supposed to be the father and the mother in the home, to begin to look out for those behavioral traits in their children, to check their own values, their own beliefs, their own tradition, their own ideologies, and to begin to make correction. Now, instead of doing that, parents were blaming Nigeria. They were blaming other people. They were blaming things, rather than take responsibility that this is my child, this is my family, these are our family values, these are our family beliefs, This is the vision that I have for this family. And so they say that train a child in the way that it should go, even if he veers away from it, ultimately will come back to it, right? That is the issue, Suleiman. Now, we should stop complaining about government when there's corruption in our own homes, when there's disarray in our own families, where there's breakdown of law and order in our families, when we have lost, control over our children's behaviors. We should stop complaining about Nigeria. When even we, right, we are living lives that lack integrity. When we are no longer truthful with ourselves, when we are no longer adding value to our community or to that job, there's a mindset now that is the place that you work with that you must chop. Whichever way, just chop, right? And even the armed robber is praying, Father, let me be successful in this armed robbery attack, right? The kidnapper is waking up in the morning and praying, Father, let me go and kidnap. Where is the love? Where is the love that is supposed to be at the heart of family upbringing? Where is empathy? Where is, compassion? Where is loving your brothers? Where is, where we used to be, Suleiman, when we used to roll tire, when we were growing up, when we used to play on the street, where if you go to your neighbor's home, right, and misbehave, your friend's parents will discipline you and correct you. And if you do not behave, they will report you. Then it's double discipline, what we call double jeopardy, right? We used to know everybody in our environment, everybody, right? We used to roll, from Ilukweju to Ikeja, right? We used to go to Surulere. We used to go to Apapa. We used to find our way to school. Today, it's impossible for you to just allow your children to go out. Why? Because we are no longer creating that social structure and system. You don't even know who your neighbor is. You don't even want your children to play in your compound. Your children can't even go out without a nanny, without the cook, without the driver, right? Everything is just gone belly up. Gone are those days when, if you go to your friend's house and they ask you a question and you lie, oh my God, it's big deal.
It is.
But it's different now. Parents are absent. Parents are no longer investing in the lives of their children.
I don't know if you saw the headline. There was one big headline. It cuts across all the papers just last week. Parents and one other relative, they went to a school to beat up the teacher and the core member who is also serving in the school for disciplining their own child. It was big news just last week. It was on the major papers. So now you just reminded us of what happened, back then. What happens back then that I could spank someone's child, if found, doing something bad. And when the parents comes back, he or she comes back knocking and say, thank you, Papa Joseph, or I heard what you did. God bless you. But the story is changed. And the question now, I see a lot of messages coming in from our, listeners is, at what point did we start getting it, wrong? We thought we learned from our parents. Our parents did A, then we should be able to do a better A and not even erase A.
Thank you very much for that. We got it all wrong. When the entire moral of our system, we lost it. Go on, incredible young man became, president or head of state and said that our problem is that we have too much money, we don't know how to spend it. And so what did that do? It got people to realize that, when you have money, you just do whatever you like with it. Right? And so it was no longer about you go to school, you graduate, and then you get a 504. You remember that time? If you get a job, you get a car, and you live a good life. And school fees was, our parents, with what they earned, they sent us to the best schools. We went to the missionary schools. Where are they today? What standard? So those schools, right? There were ethics and values taught in those schools. I remember I used to be a rebel in school. And, you know, when you are summoned to the staff room, you're in big trouble. That's level 1. In fact, no, level 1 is the teacher will discipline you in the class in front of your colleagues, and so that your colleagues will learn not to do that. Then next thing is second level, they will summon you to the staff room. That's level 2. Level 3 is they will summon you to the principal's office. Level 4 is principal will call for your parents. Oh, and that one, when your father comes to school, are you my child? Oh, from home, your father will start beating you. Then when you get to school, you will chop beating in front of the principal's office. Then your father will give instruction to the principal. Discipline this child for me, because he's not behaving like I will behave. And hand over authority to your principal, who will hand over authority to your teacher. And so you'll be forced to conform to the ethics and values of the school. And they trained us well. They trained us well. Where are those schools today? Where those were the representatives of the public schools now. Where are those public schools today, right? In fact, when I was consulting for the Ministry of Education, you know, in 2006, 7, and 8, I did an inspection of all secondary schools in Nigeria. A lot of those secondary schools, they had 60 students, 70 students in them. Guess what we found out, Suleiman? The student was the one that had the teacher's class notes and was writing the notes on the board for other students to copy. The teachers were nowhere to be found. And I went on those inspections with the Minister of Education, then Obi Ezekwesili. Oh, we waited and summoned all those teachers. They were not in the school, talk less of in the staff room. They were not in the school. They had gone for their businesses. We waited for them, and those teachers were fired on the spot. So there's no teacher. The students have a field day. The student is the one that is writing the teacher's note on the board. The teacher has gone to sell Ankara or sell this or do this. The very fiber of our society is broken. Family is broken. Our educational systems are broken. Oh, our churches are broken. Pastors and imams are living recklessly. They are living recklessly. They are living off the work and sweat of members.
You know, because a lot of people, sorry again to cut you there, because a lot of people, because of the busy nature of some parents, they have actually handed over, you know, their responsibilities to teachers, and again, sometimes to religious leaders. And as observed by you, we have come to realize that it's not as it used to be. There are no teachers where we expected to see teachers. There are no, you know, religious people. Someone, Omashaya Shenwa, let me share this with you. But quickly, for those who are listening, you can also send your messages via WhatsApp on 0909 217 2973. And of course, you can send a text to 33973, and on Twitter at Classic FM, yes, and of course, don't forget the hashtag the Discourse. Lara Lushala is here, and he will respond to all of your questions and observations. And Omashe Asenwa says, once upon a time, there was a question that brought us back in line. Listen to this. Whose child is this? As simple as that. That's how he puts it. He said there was a question that brought every man or every child back on track. Whose child is this?
And Suleiman, the beauty about that question, right, is that before you leave, your father and your mother will educate you. Remember whose child you are. So the question in society is asking, whose child are you? That is, what did your father teach you? And who is your father? So we are mirrors of our children. We are reflections of our children. So society has shown us that our parents, our fathers, and our mothers have failed. They have shown us that our teachers, our pastors, and imams have failed. You talked about absentee parenting. The truth of the matter, right, Suleiman, is today, it's not even the teacher that they are handing over to, or the pastor, or the imam. It's the house girl. So the person that is teaching your child values, right, that is teaching your child his ideologies, his perception to life, the lenses that your child is using to see life and to approach life, is the house girl that came from the village without any education. And you pride yourself with the fact that you are the MD of a bank. What are you working for? You are an entrepreneur that turns over $200 million. What is that money ultimately going to be for? Who are you doing it for? We've got to come to terms with the fact that, right, the most important investment in the lives of our children are one, right, what I teach them, what they learn from me, right, the life that I live and the example that I lay for them. One, the values, the beliefs, the ideologies, the perception, and the behaviors. Number two, their education. Now, education is not just formal education, it's exposure. How well traveled are they? Do you go on holiday? And when you go to this place, how do you teach them about life? What are the things that matter, that you teach them that matter? Do not steal, do not kill. You've got to love people. You don't take any other person's thing. Don't covet what your friends have. You've got to be independent. You have to know who you are, what you are, whose child you are. You've got to be, complete in yourself, right? You've got to know why you are here on earth. What is the value that you are here to add on earth? What is the problem you are here to solve on earth, right? Those are a lot of the things that we should be doing. But no, a lot of parents are absent. They should stop giving an excuse that they are doing it for their children. They're doing it for them.
I'm happy that we're talking about this, and honestly, this just might be in a series. I'm hoping that we can keep this conversation. I know you're busy. It might not just be with you alone. Your other colleagues, because I'm really worried. This is not my everyday kind of interview. It touches on what we're dealing with at the moment. Honestly, off the top of my head, I come from a community where, growing up in Benin, we had such a value system. But today, I tell you something, Larry. I'm sure you've heard of Yahoo Boys and Yahoo Plus.
Yeah.
We now have parents who go in search of, fetish, let's use the language that they use, juju, to fortify their children, to make them almost invincible before law enforcement agents. Parents now know that their child or their children are into such fraud, and they encourage them. They protect them, and it beats me. And as you rightly said, it starts from the family, and it's already broken. But if you have a broken family and you have a parent who would want to support his child, shield your child away from the law, protect them, and embolden them to continue to perpetrate such, criminality, how do we help a society whereby we have such collusion from parents?
You see, Suleiman, and I'm willing to work with you to make this a series, because now we're talking about society and the impact of family on society. There's also the there's also the impact of ignorance on society. There's also the impact of spirituality or religion on society. There's also the impact of, your career or your business on society. There's also the impact of your mental health, your self-esteem, your emotional intelligence or lack of it on society. There's also the impact of your finance and money on society. But let us come back to the issues that you brought up. Parents now, right, do not trust in God. So whether the route to God is Islam or Christianity, right? Parents are now the ones that are initiating their children in the fetish approach. now to fortify them, right, and to protect them against what is wrong. Yeah, say the children have gotten to a place where they now need to make money. The parents are irresponsible, you know. Gone are the days, man, God bless our parents. Amen. They will not depend on you for their retirement. They've already made their retirement plan. So they will they will abuse you if you try and bring in stupid money, dirty money. In fact, they will disown you.
Absolutely.
You dare not try it. But because parents are compromised today, they are irresponsible. They believe that their children is their retirement plan. So whatever their child does is acceptable. In fact, they will be the ones to advise the child on how he can fortify himself using, because you can't pray to God to protect you for doing bad things. You have to go to somebody that will subscribe to that ideology, right? So that's the juju man. But we have to also recognize that they are fools. Because guess what? They are all playing with your mindset.
Absolutely.
The human is playing with your belief system. That's it. You believe that this thing will protect me, and your beliefs are very powerful. And so, then they will indoctrinate you into something that invariably, when you are 40 or 50, you die. So there are consequences to these things, but a lot of people don't realize. The other day, I was watching a video on, a video that went viral. This guy was driving an M-Class with his girlfriend and his friend, and he just jumped out of the car and started to freak out. And they were like pretending, what's going on? You know what you guys did. And these are the consequences of it. You go mad, right? So yeah, there's so many mad people roaming the streets, and you're wondering, wow, this good-looking mad young girl, this good-looking mad young boy, right? It's a function of substance abuse, going fetish, and delving into things that you don't even want to talk about. The Yahoo boys, right? It got to a stage where hotels and people were protecting their laundry lines because they were going to steal women's underwear. I mean, how depraved can you be? Do you know that one day they went into a fast food joint with guns and told the women to start taking off their underwear? So they didn't rob them for money. They didn't rob them for their phones. They were robbing them for their underwear. How depraved can we be? That is coming out from one family. He must have seen his father and mother or his uncles talk about those kinds of things for him. Or he must have been associating with some kinds of friends for him to have been thinking that way. If you want money, right? Find money. What is it that you're looking for? The fresh underwear of women. We have gone cuckoo. Now, let me bring it back, right? Before you get to the point where you are looking for money, right? Do you know that parents now pay for their children for miracle centers, for WAEC, for JAM, for all of those things? It's $1 billion industry. Parents are the ones that go and pay for invigilators, right? There are miracle centers that you can sit alone. They will pay for it. Parents pay for it. And you are now saying that when your child is arrested, right, or your child is misbehaving, you don't know anything about it, right? It all stems from you. And so the truth of the matter, right, is the problem is not Nigeria. The problem is not the politicians, because the politician came from a family.
Absolutely.
He came from a family. He learned it somewhere, right? So if we want to change Nigeria and solve this problem of Nigeria, there are three places that we go back to: our educational system, our religious system, but most importantly, our family system. If we get those three right, we put the right laws in place. That's what they did in developed countries. The right laws and policies to guide religious institutions. That's why a lot of our religious Nigerian pastors ran away from the UK. They cannot operate there. In fact, they cannot go back there. They will be arrested. So there's regulation. Yeah, the educational institutions are regulated, standard. They are inspected every month. So there are policies that guide society. Even the family institution, you cannot just, you don't have the right to just do anything, even with your child. Your child is both your child and the system's child. That's why the system at a certain age caters for them. That's why the system gives scholarship. That's why the system gives health, free health, transportation, and all of those things. So we need to go back, right, and address those three institutions. And then we now go back to government and address the kind of people that get into government. Now, it is us that have to regulate that by voting rights. Now, the reason why the wrong people are getting there is because we're voting wrong. Our own value system is wrong. So we deserve the leaders that we have. We should stop complaining. The day that our values change, our ideologies change, our vision changes, right, we will change the votes.
Let me throw this in. And
we need to be...
Sorry to cut you there. It resonates with what you just said now. Is from Emmanuel. Emmanuel is, I think, listening to us from Iju, and he said, season's greetings, and he goes, it's so sad that we have lost the moral values. Way back in school, there was a subject we were taught in school called citizen education. Where is it today in our school? What happened to the subject history? We have more broken homes now than before. Most parents now don't even have time for the children. That's from Emmanuel in Iju. And of course, we have another one here. Let me quickly check this here. And it says, according to the Greeks, there are three types of people on earth. The idiots, the tribesmen, and the citizens. Since school we are taken over by government, we have been breeding the first set of people. This is from Innocence, Dominic Orong. Some other messages, but I just wanted to react to that because someone is talking about citizen education. In some other schools, it's called civic education. And truly, we woke up someday, Larry, and history, though it's been brought back, it's just been brought back. But how on earth would a nation, in the first place, take off history from its, the subjects in schools?
It's also coming from a set of depraved people. Now, without an identity, you are nothing. So if I say to you now, Suleiman, I have the latest phone. That phone, very powerful. And you should get it to Suleiman because that phone will do wonders for you. What's the next question you ask me?
You want to know what
is the next question you ask me, Suleiman?
Maybe you want to know the amount the phone costs and what make, or can I say
what kind of phone? Yeah, you want to relate with the phone. So you ask me, what kind of phone is that? Right? Now, I've explained the value of the phone, but that is not important. What is most important first is the identity of that phone. You cannot separate value, function from identity. We have lost all sense of identity. We don't even know who we are anymore. We don't know who we are anymore. We've lost it. Internet, TV, movies have just shaped everything. MTV, everybody wants to blow American for them. From the influencers, right? There's no authenticity. Where are the fellas of this world? Where are the Sonia Days of this world? Where are the Shino Peters of this world? Where are the Ebenezer Obeys of this world? Where are the Oliver the Cox of this world? Authentic people with identity who changed, a certain space. Our musicians today also want to act like the Americans, not knowing that the source of music came from us. We are inauthentic. We are fake. We need to go back to our authenticity, our originality, our identity. Who are we as a people? What are we as a people? And who are we not? And what are we not? And that's the essence of history. History helps you understand who you are, helps you understand what you are, but most importantly, helps you understand who you are not and what you are not. Helps you understand your roots such that you can have substance and a formidable foundation to build upon. But when the foundation is faulty, boom, the building will collapse. And that's why there's collapse everywhere. There's collapse everywhere. We would rather study America, study Europe, so that we can say that, we're exposed. We are very well traveled, but we're illiterate. We're uneducated. Because if we were educated, when we travel, we will ask, what makes this system work? And what can I take back home? Suleiman, gone are those days when the government used to give scholarship for people to go and school abroad. And then you will come back and serve and implement what you have learned. That's what Singapore is doing. That's what Hong Kong is doing. That's what India is doing. China is doing it. They will send their best brains to Oxford, to Harvard, to go and study. Come back. And they will implement. Now, we have lost all of that. Let me give you a classic situation. If you see an Indian in the UK, right, what would you see them wearing? If you see a Pakistani, what would you see them wearing? If you see an Arab, what would you see them wearing? Those are people that are connected to their identity. They will not marry outside of themselves. They will intermarry, right? They will keep their money in their community. They live together. Indians live together. Jews live together. Chinese live together. Arabs live together, right? They keep it within the system. Why? Because they have an identity and they keep that identity. What do? Immediately we go abroad. Oh, we want to go and hang with white people. Oh, we want to, and then we change our apparels. Oh, we start to sag. Oh, we start to blend. We start to change our language, our accent. We start to change it. Oh, we start to do our hair. And then we are lost. And then we don't want to come back home. Don't you know that the airports are filled with those people, white people, Chinese people, Indian people coming to Nigeria because they see opportunities here? Why is China taking over Africa? It's the continent of the greatest opportunity. But you that you were born here, right, to solve the problems here so that you can become wealthy here, you are running away. Did Aliko Dangote make his money in America? Did Tony Elumelu make his money in America? Did Jimovia make his money in America? Do you know that it is the land with the greatest problems that has the greatest opportunities? Where 200 plus and counting million people, the greatest economy on this side of the 21st century. You cannot see opportunities around you. You cannot be a solution. The more problems you are able to identify and solve, the more money you make, the more impact you make, the more value you create, and the bigger your brand. It is high time that we woke up to the reality that we were created and dispatched for such a time as this in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a geographical space. Nigeria is you and I. And when we talk about Nigeria, we're talking about us. So if you want to change Nigeria, we have to change us and change family. Nigeria is you and I. Once we change, Nigeria will change. Nigeria is expecting us to change so that it can change. We are expecting Nigeria to change so that we can change. That's an oxymoron, a paradox. There is no geographical space that is an entity. It is the people and the behavior and the tradition and the culture, which boils down to the mindset of the people, that create the country.
I think this resonates with a lot of people listening today. Again, I haven't said my thanks. Thank you again for agreeing to work with us on this. Honestly, I think we should from time to time have a series, a continuation of this conversation. A lot of people are in tune, and this one is from Osa. He says he's listening from Abulegba, and he said, thank you to your guest, Lanre Olushola, and he said he just tuned in. Parents now encourage Yahoo because our political elites are the first fraudsters of our country on the basis of the lies and deceitfulness that the politicians use to rule the citizens. In a country where nothing works because of a failed system, the people are left to sort themselves out. Osa continues by saying our democratic system is a disaster where only those with money manipulate it. So even if I try to vote, it will be manipulated. I want you to react to this. That's what I'm saying. But even the first thing is that we can't even register for voters' cards since this administration came into power, which was easier before them. This administration can as well blame it on the past government, that's the PDP, but they have failed in their administration. I think it's pretty long, but I'll just allow you to react to that. That's also listening. He feels that even though you've said, okay, we can change the system, maybe politically speaking, that's what he's saying. He says he doesn't think his vote will count ultimately.
I don't think that's correct. And you see, the way we see the problem is the problem. And let me explain it, right? Let's look at NSAS, let's look at it on the merit of the impact within the shortest possible time, right? And how they were able to, if they did what was right, that is in terms of, moving forward, they would have made more impact. But let us look at what they did, right? They took responsibility. They identified an issue and they went after it, right? And they got everybody's attention. Everything stood still. Now, that is the power of the people. Oh my God. A set of people had a vision, one vision. So the people that were cleaning the streets were part of the vision. The people that were raising the money were part of that one vision. The people that were lauding it on social media were part of that vision. They had a vision. And that vision was end SARS. Did they achieve it? Yes, they did. And how did they do it? They took responsibility. Power of the people. Now, the biggest power you have is your vote. However, your vote must go for one vision. One vision. Now, America decided that they were going to unseat Donald Trump. And what happened? They unsat him. No matter what he tried, they unsat him. That is the power of the people. Now, how many policemen do we have? How many soldiers do we have? If we stand for what is right, which is what? We have a vision to elect and put in office a president that speaks our voice, a president that feels our pain, a president that has high moral standards, right? And we have a criteria to select that person, right? And we go and join the political party such that when we're choosing that person in the party, we're all there. We put our mouth where our money is, right? We don't go and form any party. There are already existing parties, right? And it's cash. Shebi is cash. Do you know how much they raise for NSAS? If the right people with one vision go into PDP, right, they can change PDP from within. The problem is that we want to try and change from outside. You can never change anything from outside, right? You have to go into it. Go and ask Shadrach, Daniel, Meshach, and Abednego. They changed the system from within. That's why God sent them into Babylon, right? You have to go into PDP and APC to change from within, right? And then put in place, right, different candidates that will run for different offices. And you will do crowdfunding to raise money. It's about cash. Politics in Nigeria is about cash, right? You cannot deploy a different strategy. Use the same strategy. They say politicians is about money, right? How many are we? If we had 1 million people that stood for one vision, and every month, each one of us donate 1,000 naira until 2023, just 1,000 naira every month until 2023, and we choose who it is that we want inside PDP, inside APC, and all of those top, parties in different offices. Do you think it will happen? It will happen. And then when we go to the polls to vote, we will vote, we will stand and ensure that the votes are counted and announced. So, look, that is where our power is, but we cannot give our power away. Look, when the touts tried to come in, did you see those videos with NSAS when those people turned against the touts and they were running? We're 200 million people. Let's wake up. How many touts are there? We are 200 million people. Let's wake up. We have power. And so we cannot continue to say we don't have power, because that is the mindset that they want us to have, that we have no power. There's nothing we can do. That is not true. We can change anything we want to change when we want to change it. We just have to have the right strategy and the right people that are guiding and leading.
Well, for those, if you just joined us, we actually winding down, but as agreed, we'll look out for a better moment, from time to time. This is not anything that has to do with humans, anything that has to do with society, the family, must not be one-off, and it's something that we hope to bring back again to look at on the Discourse today. We have Lanre Olushola here, and we really can't thank him enough for his time. But there are also those categories of persons we have seen in Nigeria. They are leaders, but very corrupt. But if you look at their background, they come from a very well-knitted, honest, dedicated family. Their parents have a good track record, but the child is different from, the parents. And number one, the people voted for them thinking that they would effect plans and policies because of where they're from. But at the end of the day, they got in there. They're monsters. They're quite a different species. How can people recognize that these ones are different from, the original that gave birth to them, that we thought were, morally upright?
This is a very interesting one, because, there are always outliers anywhere. There will be some people that come from very depraved backgrounds, but they turn out well. There will be some that come from very upright families, they turn out well. So they say that the children of pastors are the greatest rebels. So on the outside, right, the pastor has the form, but the children see pastor at home abusing mom. They see pastor at home not living what he's teaching, and so that messes them up. So on the outside, we may be seeing and thinking, oh yeah, they are upright in this family, but inside they may be dysfunctional. However, there may be also intact families, right, that the children now roll with wrong people. So you've sent your child to boarding house, then he now has friends with a child who came from dysfunctional background, and so that child is being influenced. And so that child, even though he has functional parents, right, is being parented by his peer and his peer's parents indirectly. And so they've changed his mindset. And so he begins to act differently and behave differently from his origin or his original source. So we have different dynamics like that. But what is very, very important is that, when you carry a spirit, right, the way that you know the spirit you carry is the fruits of that spirit. So if you carry the spirit of goodness, right, if you have the spirit of goodness, you will do good. If you carry the spirit of love, you will show love. If you carry the spirit of gratitude and thanksgiving, right, you will forever be grateful and thankful. So how do you identify these people? Just check out their fruits. Check out the things they say. Check out the people they hang around. Check out the things that they do, and you'll be able to tell. Don't be dissuaded by packaging. Look out for consistency in behavior, in habits, in their associations. You'll be able to tell. In the things they say, you'll be able to tell this one, whether it's a good spirit or bad spirit. We have to learn to discern. And each human being is wired with the ability to discern. It's just that a lot of us have compromised, so we're blinded. We can no longer discern. We need to go back to basics. We need to go back to basics in Nigeria if we want a new Nigeria. We have to become a new Nigerian. I have to build a new Nigerian family. We have to build a new Nigerian school, a new Nigerian church, a new Nigerian mosque, where, we used to coexist. Muslims, Christians, we used to coexist. It didn't matter whether your neighbor was Muslim or Christian. We had similar values: love, hope, faith, goodness, kindness. We had it. It wasn't about religion, right? We knew that was where we were born into, right? You are born into a family that is Christian or Muslim, but it still did not change. If we didn't ask what religion are you, all of us were good people. We all followed the same. Muslims were going to missionary schools, and they were going to chapel every Sunday. So it didn't matter. Why? Because we served the same God. We lived by the same tenets and values of love, of hope, of kindness, of integrity, of honesty. We just have to go back to the basics.
Well, I think it's a fine place for us to leave it, and we'll come back to this. Honestly, I am moved, and I love to see this conversation continue, because away from the regular, meeting the politician, the policy maker, we need people like yourself to help remind us where we're coming from, what it was before, what we should be doing, because in other climes, that's what's been able to, jumpstart, development in such places. And we really will say thank you so much for being such a nice company, Lanre Odeshola. And maybe when next we'll come on the show, we'll talk about those three great men you have behind behind you there: Martin Luther, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. For those who are listening, you can get to watch this later in the week on the Classic FM YouTube page. That's why we decided to be having the show now via Zoom. And as Larry said, these are some of the good things we've been able to get off COVID. So COVID can't hold us down. Now we know that we're done with the show, but we can still see him and hear him on our YouTube channel. Larry, once again, thank you very much, and my love to your family. Well,
thank you, Suleiman. Take care of yourself. I look forward on your show again.
All right,
bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Yeah, bye-bye. So that's it on the Discourse here on Classic FM. I'm Suleiman. I'll be back again next week. Bye-bye.